Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello all, and what? I can't really talk today. Hello all, and what is going on? How y'all doing on this late Sunday afternoon? This is the Club of the Man 1993. We are here live. That's right, we are live for my live review of this past Friday night edition of Friday Night SmackDown. It is the April 28th. 2023 edition. It was night one of the 2023 WWE Draft. It was, of course, as a draft that we're told by Triple H that will change the game. Is it so far changing the game? Is it so far making us feel like this is a waste of time? Because of some stupid little rule that was made about people who were not drafted. Which makes me believe, of course, again, that Vince McMahon has his dirty little fingers on this draft. They want to keep saying that, the Triple H has not had any, Vince has not had any impact on this. It's all a thing of, where it was decided weeks ago and then Vince has not stepped out of it. As I keep saying about everything, bull crap. Bull crap. Especially for a guy who got sued again. Yes, another lawsuit was filed again this past week about Vince McMahon. Apparently him and some other writers for some racist storylines that were being pitched. And then also apparently there was something going on where he was getting sued for something with how the sale between them and WWE Endeavor was illegal or something like that. WWE has refused to comment on that one, but just more drama. And I just continue to say this. And I was originally going to do like a live stream ranting about this, but I'm just so done ranting about all this stuff. Because to me, it feels like the same thing just keeps on happening. Vince McMahon gets sued or, gets, barked at by somebody. Oh, well, I'll pay this money. He pays up. Typical, rich person can do. Get away with everything by handing out the money. It's all about the money. All about the money. So, yeah. I love this episode of SmackDown. Some things I was excited about. Well, some things from the draft, I'm like, okay. There was some picks, though, that I, again, am questioning. SmackDown itself, not much really happened on the show. I mean, we had the tag title match. We of course, had a tease as to, what could be happening to the Usos if they would lose. Interesting enough, they were not included to be drafted on night one. Which, again, makes me wonder, does this mean that the Usos could be going to the opposite brand of Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman? We, of course, will have to, figure out what that is. But yeah, we're going to basically talk mostly about the draft. Most of the matches didn't really get a lot of time, which, again, also worries me about how much, control that Vince have on this show, because he loves being in control. But we're going to talk about all that. I'll get my thoughts on some draft picks, and we're just going to skedaddle out of here. The goal also, of course, is to get caught up with this tonight. Again, May is going to be super busy for me between the wedding, bachelor party, pay-per-views. There's I think 3 pay-per-views this month between Backlash, which I'll be real, even after this draft and where some people went, my excitement did dip for Backlash. I'm not really that excited for Backlash, if I'm being honest. We have Night of Champions, and we have Double or Nothing happening this month also. So, between all that and the stuff with the wedding, the shower coming up in a few weeks, my bachelor party is also happening in a few weeks as well. So many other things going on. So, like I said, it's going to get nuts. So, I'm trying my best to keep up the best I can. There will definitely be some little side projects, though, that I'm going to might have to take a break from for a bit until after the wedding, which is July 1st. But we'll do the best from there and just roll through with it. But let's, of course, check the live chat. We got Mark. What's up, Mark? And we got Tyler, who is definitely happy that AJ Styles is back on SmackDown. Now, that surprised me. I mean, if he's fine with it, cool. I only kept thinking he was going to stay on Raw because, again, I remember a couple of years ago in 2020, when he briefly got moved back to SmackDown, and he got moved over to Raw. The rumors is the fact that AJ Styles just wants to be able to be home for his kids' events. So that's why he was on Raw instead of SmackDown. So SmackDown's on Fridays. But that's changed now as AJ is headed back over to the house that AJ Styles built. So I look forward to seeing what he does on SmackDown. If he's there, cool. I just didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. Eddie is back too, because we did recently hear that AJ Styles was far, far away from an in-ring return. But I guess that was a little bit of a ruse. But we'll talk about that, of course, when we get to that pick later on in the show. Hashtag Fire Vince. I know I'm not the only one that found it funny that the Usos weren't even eligible to be drafted alongside their cousin and brother. That's for sure. Nice suspense there. We got Wrestling News 365. Now that AJ's back on SmackDown, have him feud with Roman Reigns. Yes! Again, I said this the other day in one of my reviews. How on earth has Roman Reigns gone through this whole title reign and he hasn't had one match yet with AJ Styles? Again, they have not had a match since their one-on-one, since their Extreme Rules match in 2016, when Roman was still the bland babyface and AJ Styles was just getting started. So, yes, they got to cross paths now that they're both going to be on the same brand. I'm disappointed because thanks to Riddle, we'll never know what Solo's marching orders were. Oh, we'll find out eventually. We could actually possibly find out at Backlash, maybe. We possibly could. We maybe could. We'll see. Split the tag titles and get rid of these women's tag titles. We'll see what they do about the tag titles. This is Shinsuke Nakamura's first time ever being on Raw. That is for sure. And this is Bobby Lashley's first time ever being on SmackDown. He's wrestled there a few times, but he's never been full-time. That's correct. Yeah, it hasn't been the case for either one, because Bobby's been on Raw since he debuted in since he came back in 2018, and Nakamura debuted in 2017, and he's been on SmackDown ever since. I'm happy that some NXT superstars got drafted in the draft, as well as it's nice to finally mean something. A couple of the names I was a little questioning about, but especially the fact they took both their women's tag and women's champion. I was a little questioning that one. There's definitely a couple other people I thought might deserve it a little more than Indy Hartwell, if I'm being honest. But there's still night 2. I'm still pretty sure one is going to happen, but others we'll see. But yeah, there's a couple. One I'm definitely excited about for sure. Getting called from NXT is definitely Zoe Stark. But okay, we'll talk about when we get to the supplemental picks. Okay, I'll go over the picks. As you saw, also I made shorts on my Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok page for each person. I'll continuously be doing that for the rest of this draft. Definitely might want to have a couple little, tweaks on some things here and there, but, it is. I will be doing a video for the YouTube channel where I put all those together under some non-copyrighted music or something like that, just to at least get the results posted on there as well. So that will be happening there. Let me see here. Mark can't wait for the rest of the draft tomorrow. Me neither. Tyler says AJ to slay Roman in the summer. Could happen, especially with who got drafted where. Tyler gives the show an A-. Okay, he liked it better than me. That's fine. Now we got some fresh new challengers for Roman. His title is Gunther Throwing Imperium got moved over to Raw. He is taking the U.S. title. I'm not sure what equipment. There was a little jumbled some words in there. Get ready for another title exchange probably happening. Although I have another theory what they could do with the women's titles. And get ready to change that picture to Bianca Belair. Well, I'm going to change it once there's a SmackDown Women's Champion. That is that's what they're going to call it. But we'll talk about that when we get to that draft pick. But yeah, we're going to get rolling and talk about this show. The show took place in Corpus Christi, Texas. My sister used to live there. It's a very nice little area. The show opened up with Triple H coming out here, standing at the draft podium or whatnot. What was different about this draft also that they had different people, like different legends, different Hall of Famers come out throughout the show to announce the draft picks. Triple H comes out and welcomes us to the draft, says he lays down the ground rules. Every superstar on Raw and SmackDown are subject to transfer. 50% of the roster will be drafted tonight and the other half this Monday on Raw. In addition to those rosters, some NXT stars are available to be drafted as well. And then the post-draft rosters will go into effect Monday, May 8th after Backlash. So he begins the draft. SmackDown, I guess they didn't do 5 per round. They did 4 people per round. They let SmackDown go first. And SmackDown, of course, picked the Bloodline. But only Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa. The Usos are going to be drafted on night 2, of course, as it's already been announced. But interesting also that, Roman didn't fight for them to make sure that they got drafted over with him. Because obviously he felt the Usos had something to prove to him. Because they're seeming more and more and more unreliable, it looks like. But we'll see what happens tomorrow night when the draft completes. So that ensures that the Undisputed Universal Championship will be staying on SmackDown. And the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship will be Raw's world title. Speaking of Raw, the second pick and the first pick by Raw was Cody Rhodes. Yeah. It seemed obvious that Cody would probably be the first pick, but for Raw, but I wasn't sure about this. I thought Cody should have been drafted to the same brand as Roman. I mean, I don't know who else they would have picked over Cody, but I mean, they could have either had Cody be put on night 2 and have Roman on night 1. But yeah, Roman and Cody are being separated. That bothers me a little. Well, not to say a little, but to me, it's just okay, so now Cody can't finish his story unless they break the rules in this draft. Which, spoiler alert, is going to look pointless after I go over the announcement that was made on SmackDown Lowdown when I did the supplementary picks on the show. Cody going after the World Heavyweight title, to me, is just going to look like a consolation prize. It'll look no better than if he would go after a mid-card title right now, So, with that being said, because rumors started late this past week, advising that apparently the match on the table to main event WrestleMania 40 is Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes in a rematch. Here's my thing, though. I don't know if this can if this is going to be built to get to WrestleMania, what I would do, if you really want to do Roman versus Cody at Mania, at this point, even though I still would rather see it be LA Knight, at this point, I don't know who else he would fight at SummerSlam. Have Cody Rhodes cash in on Roman at SummerSlam, and somehow let the story play out and get to the rematch, the rubber match, which will take place at WrestleMania 40. Just them getting the second match to WrestleMania 40, I'm not sure if it's capable. Especially also, again, if Vince McMahon continues to get more and more and more involved, which I don't know how much worse it can get the way it is right now. So that one did bother me a little. I didn't think that was the right move. And then this second pick for SmackDown that I didn't even predicted this, but now, of course, I do feel a little worried they made it to nothing but just a title swap. But Bianca Belair got drafted to SmackDown as the Raw Women's Champion. Oh, man. So, here's the thing. I was cool with this until, spoiler alert, I thought, oh, maybe that means they may put the belt on Io then at Backlash. No, they're not, because Io also got drafted to SmackDown later in the show with Damage Control. So, a lot of people, including myself, I don't want to see another one of the title swaps, especially, I mean, I know my prediction will even make this sound stupid, but especially if they're just going to have just Rhea and Bianca swap the belts, which would be very stupid. And it's dumb that, again, they have both Raw superstars fighting for the SmackDown Women's title. You get what I mean? It doesn't quite make sense. What I think they should do, if they're just really going to change the game, throw a curveball at us, what I would do is, at Night of Champions, I would have Rhea Ripley, who is facing Zelina Vega. You know she's beating Zelina. I would have Rhea fight Bianca, have them merge the Raw and SmackDown Women's title, and just call it the WWE Women's Women's Championship. And then introduce a brand new title, new design on SmackDown, on Raw, and call it the WWE Women's World Championship. Now, of course, it would worry me a little if they did that, because I don't want them to bring back the Divas title and have the Women's Championship and the Divas Championship. I don't want that again. That's what worries me a little bit. They could do that route. But I don't know, I'd rather have the Divas title or, have them just swap belts or whatnot. It's a weird situation because Rhea's not going to be drafted till night 2. But I think that would be an interesting way to do it because they teased the match already with them as champion versus champion. If Vince is not in charge, I'm pretty sure Triple H would get them to Survivor Series to have them fight in like a War Games caliber match or something like that. But yeah, so that one, if they're throwing a curveball at us, it's good. But if not, then we'll see though. And also too, I thought Trish would be the one to take the belt off of Bianca. But of course, I think Trish will also be drafted to Raw because the fourth pick of the first round, Raw selected Becky Lynch, who of course Trish will be feuding with whenever Becky comes back. But I think it is time to put Bianca and Rhea on a different brand. And again, they just merge the current titles, call them the WWE World Championship. Well, I'm sorry, the original's called just the WWE Women's Championship, and then the WWE Women's World Championship. Like, get new designs, new names. Like, don't make everything all so freaking color-coded and whatnot, So, that's my thoughts on round 1. Kevin Owens, well, first, Triple H introduces the Usos, who are going to be fighting for the tag titles. And then they said Roman was draft number 1. They tell him that they're bringing the tag titles back to the Bloodline. He hasn't been talking to them, so they know he's feeling away. But they're going to do like they told him last week and dedicate the match to him. Out comes Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which Sami is again saying, why are you dedicating this match to him? If you think it's strange that Roman hasn't even spoken to you since WrestleMania. And Roman, of course, drafted SmackDown without them. If that doesn't say anything, he doesn't know what to tell them. Fine, but make no mistake, they're walking out of the bloodline. Jey Uso cuts him off to insist that they're going to win the tag titles, and Jimmy starts in about how Kevin will definitely turn on Sami. KO steals him and says, the only thing I care about at this time is getting in the ring and beating the hell out of you guys and retaining these tag titles, which would take place in the main event of the show. LA Knight then beat Butch or Pete Dunne. It was a very short match. The matches felt kind of short tonight, I thought, in my opinion. LA Knight, though, gets the victory. Kind of wish there was some of a tease of them breaking up the Brawling Brutes and letting Butch be Pete Dunne again. Because there's a rumor that that Triple H wanted to do that, but until the Brawling Brutes got really over. Afterwards, Paul Heyman gives the Usos a pep talk backstage, telling them success is their only avenue tonight, and they need to be drafted to the island of relevancy or be set adrift in the sea. So pressure's really on them. They're in a lot of hot water now, basically. RVD and Michael Hayes came out and announced the next draft picks. Raw selected Imperium, which of course is Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, and the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. Raw is definitely getting a very, very fresh roster. And Gunther being over there and being like one of the big names on the show is definitely going to give Raw some wonders. Some very, very good stuff. Actually, I'm sorry. Before that, SmackDown drafted the Street Profits. I guess they're not splitting them up yet because there have been rumors for the longest time they were going to split the Street Profits, and they did not. Then, of course, was Imperium. Michael Hayes announced Edge is going to SmackDown, which at first I'm like, awesome, because I feel like SmackDown was more so of Edge's home in his first run of the company. But then afterwards, I thought, though, I'm like, the only thing is, though, is who does he fight on SmackDown? I mean, most of the people I think he still need to fight, he hasn't fought yet, are all heading over to Raw. So, I don't know who Edge will fight on SmackDown, but we'll see where that one goes. And then round 2 rounded up with Matt Riddle going to Raw. Well, staying on Raw as he originally was. They didn't have a triple threat tag match. It was the Street Profits versus Latino World Order's Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Surprised to see Strowman in this match, especially if he had been dealing with a concussion, I believe it was he's dealing with. The match was fine. Again, it was just short. The Street Profits get the win and get some momentum as they hope to probably challenge for the tag titles at some point as well. We have JBL and Teddy Long do the third round of draft picks. JBL first announces that Bobby Lashley is coming to SmackDown, which, as we said earlier, that's the first time, I believe, since he's at least been back in 2018, that Bobby Lashley will be on Friday nights. And then we had Teddy Long announcing Drew McIntyre going to Raw, which I kind of expected, and it's going to be good. He's going to have a huge opportunity to be back in the world title scene again, which I think is great to see for him. The SmackDown then draft AJ Styles and the OC. So AJ is indeed back from his injury. It was good to see him. They had a little bit of a run-in with the Viking Raiders, who eventually got drafted to Raw. And the supplemental picks, is here. But yeah, so they basically had an altercation with the Viking Raiders, but again, they're on SmackDown now, all 4 members, which will be good. And then Teddy Long announced that The Miz was drafted to Raw. Okay. Zelina Vega then beat Sonya Deville and had this typical backstage, like, oh, we believe in you, this and that. But it's like, why is she challenging for the world title if she's an ultimate underdog, basically? But, yeah, Zelina's got no chance in that women's title match at Backlash. Afterwards, though, also Rhea had attacked Zelina from behind, but she reversed Rhea's riptide into a DDT. Which was nice. We had the pep talk again with Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, and Zelina. And then that's when we had the OC come out and everything with the Viking Raiders. Then we had Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg Jesse James, who's been running his mouth left and right saying the dumbest things ever on Twitter. They come out and announce the last round picks. HBK first announces Damage Control, which the whole group is going. I'm surprised they do that because, one, I thought they would break them up. And two, again, Io, who's fighting Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship next weekend. How are you supposed to do that, again, if all stars involved are on SmackDown? None are on Raw. And plus, two, even if Bianca would switch the belts, who fresh does she really have to work with on SmackDown? If they don't put Rhea on there and make things a little spicy, if you know what I mean. But yeah. And then Raw got Shinsuke Nakamura. Great pick. That's his first time going to Raw. He would then be attacked by Karrion Kross while being interviewed. So maybe Kross is going to Raw too and set up for a match between them at some point. And then NXT finally got some call-ups. The women's tag champs Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, or Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn. And then the women's world champion, Indy Hartwell, which I still don't quite get it. Like, why did she basically take away, three of your top champions, I thought that was weird. And especially since, Vince, whenever Vince does get his hand on the scripts, the main thing he likes to change is the women's stuff. Is anyone besides me starting to think that just maybe Vince is holding a grudge against the women for all these allegations he's been getting? Just an opinion or something like that. I just wanted to mention that there. But yeah, so I still kind of expected a little bit more from the NXT calls. I mean, yeah, we got some that I liked in the supplemental draft, and there's definitely a couple that didn't get drafted yet, which are, again, pretty deadly, which I'm pretty sure they're going to be coming up and probably announced tomorrow night, because when they're getting dumped into the lake to finish off your run, I'm pretty sure they will be on their way up shortly. Roxanne Perez, I'm surprised, was not drafted yet either. We had, of course, a couple more people in the supplementary picks. We'll get to that in a second. Again, we also had the main event, which is Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Usos. Again, the match was okay. Again, a lot of these matches just felt like very short, very rushed, very like Vince McMahon-esque and whatnot. Solo Sikoa, though, was instructed to do his bidding, to do Roman Reigns' bidding in the match, which could have meant he could have been, punishing the Usos for not taking orders from him or whatnot, but you don't know that for sure. Eventually, the distractions, though, did lead for Sami and KO to retain the tag titles, which I was surprised. I thought maybe they would lose them since Sami technically can't go to the Saudi Arabia shows yet. But nope, they in fact did retain. And again, I thought the match was fine. Again, it was, had a couple little odd spots, but yeah, that's basically the show. Before I go off of the air, and I'm getting tired, guys, so I'm going to just make this quick. The supplemental picks on SmackDown Lowdown. So SmackDown only got 2 people overall. Well, 2 picks overall. Hit Row, who, again, it's not working because there's no swerve. And then Lacey Evans, whose transfer gimmicks, like, how many freaking times, I would say. And then for Raw got a lot more people. They got Apollo Crews coming back from NXT. We'll see if he improved at all from being NXT. We got Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green, and Sonya Deville, who, didn't mention it when I saw the post. But Sonya and Chelsea were drafted as a tag team. Dexter Lumis, I guess him and Indy are going to reunite Index on the main roster. We'll see. JD McDonough, I'm of course excited to see him on the main roster. Although, if Vince has more hands on creative, I don't see him pushing JD McDonough. But, I was definitely always a fan of McDonough. I enjoyed his time, of course, as Jordan Devlin. Heck, if they wanted to, kind of start up a new stable for Finn Balor, because I still feel like they should, try something else for the Judgment Day, they could have JD McDonough be not Jordan Devlin's, be, I can't speak right now, be, crap, I lost my train of thought, so I'm getting sleepy. I'm sorry, guys. I completely forgot what I was going to say. I am so sorry. Something about JD McDonough. Oh, yes. I don't see Vince pushing him because I don't see Vince liking him. He could at best be a good mid-card champion, but I don't think he'll ever be world champion. But I could definitely see him being somebody that Vince books like a joke. The maximum male models stay on Raw. I guess that means Otis will probably be coming to Raw. Natalie's coming back over to Raw. Sonya Deville's joining Chelsea Green over on Raw. The Viking Raiders are coming to Raw. And then NXT also called up Zoe Stark, who apparently has been a heel lately. But I think she'll get changed back to being a babyface pretty quickly under Raw, as should be. But then here's the part that completely okay, I'm still interested to see what happens tomorrow. Here's the part, though, that made me almost not want to watch it. It was announced then that the free agents after round 1 are Dolph Ziggler, Omos with MVP, which is a little bit of a shocker. You would think that, Omos would be all by himself, but that's not the case. Crap, I'm losing my train of thoughts here, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler, Omos, which again, I thought Vince would, have him prioritized. Actually, I worried that Vince would put the world heavyweight title on him. Don't do it, by the way. Mustafa Ali, and then NXT's Von Wagner, which I didn't even know he was even eligible for the draft. But here's the dumb part, though. So originally, you remember back in 2016, whenever Heath Slater didn't get drafted, and it led to that I Got Kids storyline. Well, now, was something I would kind of hope they would repeat again with someone like a Baron Corbin or whatnot. Someone who, people don't really care about, who just is going to eat pins and do something low card and pointless, But I don't know. Like I said, I'm overthinking this. But the dumbest thing about all this, though, is they announced that if you are a free agent, you can compete on either brand. I'm like, what? If you can compete on either brand as a free agent, then what on earth is the point of this draft then? What's the point? If you could be free agents and go anywhere you want, how many people would rather have them to have a little more structure, But who knows? Who freaking knows? But guys, thank you for your stuff in the live chat. I'm sorry, though. I'm tired. I'm going to go lay down for a bit. But I gave this show a C+. The draft was fine. The show didn't have too much happening. But, it's one of those shows where it's there was some confusing stuff that happened. But I just got to see how night 2 goes. And then, of course, we will judge from there. But I gave the show a C+, guys. I'm going to check out and go take a nap really quick. I'm tired. What are your guys' thoughts on this episode of SmackDown and the first episode of the draft for 2023? And for your NXT call-ups, surprises who were not signed yet. Make sure you again leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. I'll check it out, guys. I'm gonna lay down for a bit. Don't forget, for I am the man himself.